And national leaders, they have their hands full today with critical decisions surrounding the coronavirus pandemic.
Several major decisions will be made and announced today, including the status of your child's school year. There's a lot to get to this morning, so let's get to it. The next round of stimulus money starts rolling out today. This applies to people who recently provided updated checking account info to the IRS. But for the millions of Americans who have not filed tax returns, including retirees and veterans, they could wait a whole lot longer. The IRS is sending physical checks, about 5 million a week, starting with those who have the lowest income. It should take until September to get all of these out. Another HM Health drive-through testing site opens up today. This one will be located at Northside Baptist Church on Jeremiah Boulevard in Northeast Charlotte. HM told us they would adjust locations to make sure they're serving the areas with less access to health care. Today's testing site that'll be open from noon until 7. You do not need an appointment. However, you do have to have symptoms of the virus to get tested. And a decision that parents like me have been waiting for. Today, Governor Roy Cooper expected to make an announcement about what will happen with schools statewide. That announcement should happen this morning at 10 o'clock. Reporter Anthony Castura is standing by live for us this morning uptown.
And Anthony, South Carolina, they've already canceled classes for the year. Looks like North Carolina could do the same, but there's just so much to get sorted through. We've got grades and a whole lot more.
There is certainly a lot to sort out, Brittany. Kids have already been out of school for more than a month, and they're scheduled to go back on May 15th. But this morning, we expect to learn whether that will happen, or like so many other states, they may not go back at all. We know this has been a huge transition for students, parents, and teachers. And at his news conference yesterday, Governor Cooper praised all of them for their ability to adapt.
I am so proud of our teachers, teacher assistants, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, our parents, people who are working so hard to make sure that children can get as much remote learning as they possibly can get.
His remarks come at the same time the State Board of Education approved a new grading policy for students during the pandemic. Students in kindergarten through 5th grade won't receive a final grade. Instead, teachers will provide year-end feedback. Students in 6th through 8th grade will get a pass or withdrawal. They'll receive the pass if a student was passing that class as of March 13th or has improved to passing through remote learning. They'll get a withdrawal if they were not passing and did not improve since then. But the withdrawal does not automatically mean that they failed. High school kids have a choice of a numeric grade or a pass withdrawal. And that withdrawal does not impact a student's GPA. It just means there's not enough proof that the student successfully completed the course. That new policy also says that schools should allow students to advance to the next grade unless there were already plans to retain them before school closed down. Again, Governor Cooper is expected to make his announcement this morning at 10 o'clock. You can watch that live here on Channel 9 or stream it on our free WSOC TV News app.
We know
Brittany?
this will kick off a lot of decision making for parents. Either way, Anthony, thank you.
And yesterday, Governor Cooper extended the stay-at-home order in North Carolina. That is now until May the 8th. But there will be phases, 3 of them, for reopening the state. So let's go through those. The first phase, that could start as soon as May 9th if things go well. During that phase, the stay-at-home order would still be in place, but it will be modified so more businesses can open as long as they're enforcing social distancing. The second phase, that could start 2 to 3 weeks later. At that time, the stay-at-home order would be lifted, but vulnerable people will still be encouraged to stay inside. And then 4 to 6 weeks after that comes the third phase. There would be softer restrictions for vulnerable populations, increased capacities at bars, restaurants, and churches, and even higher amount of people allowed to gather in the same place. Now, North Carolina leaders want to at least double the number of people it's testing right now. They also want to double the number of workers who are tracing COVID-19 patients. They say there is also not enough personal protective gear.
The hard work you've been doing has meant that North Carolina is in a very good place. We have flattened the curve, but we're not there quite yet.
Now, so why aren't we ready? Well, we're learning there are a lot of reasons for that. One is that new cases are still increasing. We've not seen the downward trend over the past 14 days that we need to see. In fact, yesterday was the second highest single day increase in reported cases 388 of them. North Carolina completed more than 96,000 tests for the coronavirus. Of those, just 7,600 have come back positive. Just 486 people are in the hospital. Now we say just because that number is small when you compare it to the state population of about 10.5 million. In South Carolina, there are 44,000 completed tests. 4,900 have come back positive out of a state population of just over 5 million.
And the son of a former Cleveland County restaurant owner agrees with the governor's decision to extend the stay-at-home order. A memorial is now placed at Jan's restaurant in Falston for the woman who started the business 40 years ago. Janice Green's son said 2 weeks ago she tested positive for COVID-19 and she died hours later. He said that people ignoring social distancing during the protests to reopen all businesses in the state should think about people like his mother.
I say let those people go free. Let them do what they want to do and see if they get sick. And then the rest of us can decide if we want to come out.
Well, he said that he understands the desire to return to gainful employment, but he fears that returning too soon may lead to more deaths. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster hosted his first Accelerate SC meeting yesterday. It focused on a plan to successfully reopen the state. The plan is made up of 5 components: response, protection, governance, resources, and information. Governor McMaster plans to designate a state agency for each part of the plan.
We have an update now. It's an important one for you about nursing homes and other long-term care facilities. This past Saturday, Iredell County denied our request for names of specific locations. They cited privacy reasons for it. Now, we hear from so many of you who are worried about the safety of family and friends who work and live at these facilities. Well, now we've had a breakthrough. We filed a records request with Iredell County, and we learned there is an outbreak. It's at Autumn Care Statesville. The state defines an outbreak as 2 or more cases in a facility. The county learned of the second case just last Friday. And last week, our Joe Bruno pushed Mecklenburg County to release information on outbreaks and got some action on that. We can tell you, for all the counties in our area, they're either revealing the names of facilities or we have a records request in to get them to do so.
And another round of grant money has made its way into the hands of local groups that are helping families through this crisis. According to WFAE Radio, Charlotte's COVID-19 Response Fund issued more than $430,000 yesterday. 5 arts and cultural organizations got those funds to support staff and to move some of the classes online. And that includes Jazz Arts Charlotte and the Children's Theater of Charlotte. The fund issues grants in waves, and it's already raised more than $16 million. Now, the stay-at-home orders have left some victims of domestic violence without a way to get help. And now Uber is offering that critical aid. They are going to provide 50,000 free rides to shelters and safe spaces and 45,000 meals. This will be available in 35 cities in 16 countries. Uber has not said which cities will be able to access this service just yet. But we've told you that this has been a troubling time for domestic violence victims. Last week, CMPD reported domestic violence calls are up 20%. They are up 33% in Gaston County. Police say that all of the added stress from the pandemic is putting a strain on relationships. But we want you to know there is still help available. If you or someone you know needs help, don't hesitate. Call this number on your screen. It is the Domestic Violence Crisis Hotline. It is 980-771-HOPE.
Fort Bragg paratroopers have a new assignment now. The 2nd Brigade Combat Team with the 82nd Airborne Division will deploy to Iraq this summer. This is part of a regular rotation to support the fight against ISIS in Iraq and in Syria.